Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to welcome you all to the Halftime Talk feature interview series. I'm delighted today to be joined by Mr. Abdulaziz Al-Balooshi, the CEO of Fujairah Terminals. Mr. Al-Balooshi, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Diala. Nice to meet you.
Great to have you. And we did have you talk to us a few months ago, but what a difference 4 or 5 months makes, doesn't it, in the world of terminals and energy. So let's have a good catch up with you on where the sentiment today lies in terms of port activities and the outlook for the year ahead, specifically obviously for Fujairah as well. Let's start with the big question that everybody has on their mind, which is concerns about instability in the region, and which have been so far not impacting oil flows or supply and activities. But how is that impacting thinking at Fujairah terminals and indeed for ports in the region, do you think? And is the industry or the sector making any preparations because of that?
Well, thank you for your question, Diala. It's nice to have you again and to go with you through this interview. The geopolitical instability regionally, or let's look at it globally. We've always been prepared and for, let's say, part of our contingency. This is part of the diversity management. We've always navigated through this geopolitical instability going long back to the history of the regions. It is complex, and this day it's unavoidable, let's say, during this period. A few years ago, we have encountered the COVID-19 and all the sectors within UAE, oil and gas, energy sectors, ports, industries, and others. We've came over this. It's not a history. With regard to the impact, this will have the trade will always look for alternative solutions. We've witnessed a diversion of the trade flow from one area, like for example, due to the crisis that's happening today within the Red Sea, we've noticed a traffic flow which is diverted to the Upper Gulf, to Dammam, to UAE ports, including the oil flow. Etihad Rail was coming on the highlights. A lot of traffic from China is coming to ports in UAE and getting transshipped via oil terminal or ports in UAE. So AD Ports Group is geared up itself with this geopolitical instabilities. And of course, we trying to align with the trades and the solution that we can provide.
Okay, fantastic. In fact, it's probably I wouldn't say an opportunity, but as you said, you're well set to take to manage any sort of changes, and you're mentioning trade from China as well, and any traffic obviously going west as well. Let's just mention and touch on Russia, because we know that obviously with the last 2 years we've had a change in the oil flows from Russia globally across many fronts and not just through the Gulf. But there has been some impact, hasn't there, on Russian product flows that may have come via Fujairah, for example. How is that now, 2 years into that sort of quite settled new trade routes impacting this particular area and this region?
Considering Fujairah oil terminal is one of the largest oil hub to accommodate the extra reserve or the extra demand and supply in the market. We have witnessed lately the flow of from the Russia-Ukraine war that there has been an increase in demand for the Russian oil flowing into regional market. I mean, even the supply to this region has increased tremendously. Fujairah has the capacity to accommodate such volume, including the regional hub, which is we have a storage facility within the UAE, but it has overcome the challenges that appeared with this change and stability when it happened, Russia-Ukraine war. But at the moment, these things has stabled. The transition has came over, and the transshipment is happening smoothly. So what I would like to say is the issue with the supply and demand and the Russian oil storage availability within the region has already settled long back.
Okay, that's great. And are you, I mean, just sort of related to that, also because we have seen sort of Russian flows going to China, a bit more going to China than used to be the case. Of course, that's quite dynamic and changing. But in terms of eastward flows through Fujairah, for example, have you seen any impact from China's changing demand, for example, whether it's crude flows or products being exported from there? Is that impacting the port infrastructure in Fujairah at all?
I mean, there is a lot of project has been initiated. I mean, Fujairah itself has a capacity of 1.177 million cubic meter of oil storage. So this gives Fujairah the advantage always to accommodate this diversion of the oil flow, whether it's from China or other market that flows into GCC. Of course, infrastructure development has to happen from our the communications and the discussion with our colleagues in the oil terminal. We know that there is a few project has been initiated to increase the receiving facilities as well. So we think the terminals and Fujairah itself are geared to accommodate the increase and the demand for the oil storage facilities.
Okay, great. I mean, let's talk a little bit about decarbonization. I mean, it kind of links into the storage infrastructure of Fujairah to an extent that, we're seeing the start of perhaps a movement for decarbon marine fuels. Ships are adapting, etc., bunker fuels. There's already some cleaner alternative fuels out there ready for bunkering. How ready is Fujairah, for example, for that to accelerate? If you do get that push and impetus with the alternative fuels for those stakeholders who use the ports, that if they really take off, how much of that it comes into Fujairah terminals thinking in terms of blending, etc.?
I mean, the global maritime shipping industry is embarking on unprecedented transition. The bunker fuel, we should look for the conventional bunker fuel and take this one going forward, especially the zero carbon alternative energy. We, for example, in Fujairah, in UAE, we have, for example, looked at LNG, methanol, biofuel, and others. I was reading in the news now, even the cruise ships are launching ammonia as an alternative fuel energy. This transformation has to happen, yet to see that as well established, but there are serious talks to meet the greenhouse reduction target as per the IMO. But yes, Fujairah is part of this discussion. We are looking into an alternative fuel, modern fuel energy. So we noticed as well there is a lot of shipping line requesting having this alternative fuel. So I think in the coming years, you will see the supply or the bunker supply within the Fujairah for these alternative fuels. And even within the UAE ports, being Abu Dhabi ports part of the group, we're looking to supply the vessel with clean fuel, let's say.
Okay, and I mean, give us a bit of an outlook, Mr. Al-Balooshi, on sort of other sort of future expansion plans, if you like, for Abu Dhabi ports in general. I mean, we're seeing quite a few general trends globally now. They haven't really impacted port operators yet, but just the general deglobalization, nearshoring, you know, all of this sort of reliability on domestic facilities, which is a positive for terminals like Fujairah. Are you beginning to feel the positive parts of that and the pressure perhaps that you need to be ready for
Right.
accommodating more trade?
I mean, lately, I mean, part of my role so I'm positioned in Fujairah and looking at some other international projects within the group. So AD Ports continues to expand its global footprint. We are trying, and we are actually trade enablers, looking at our strategic agreements, partnerships. Currently and lately, we have acquired Nuatum Logistic. It's one of the largest global maritime logistic and trade facilitator. It's positioned in 42 countries. Beyond that, we are in the Caspian Sea to support the logistic of the oil in the Caspian with our partners. On the maritime domains, we are positioned as a trade enabler as well. We have a fleet of vessels, which from container to bulk, liquid bulk, and extend to even Roro. So we have witnessed last year a huge expansion within the group internationally. And this is basically part of our strategic move to increase our global footprint.
Great. And I mean, with that expansion, as you mentioned, it into containers and sort of more, I suppose, infrastructure, but this is now mobile infrastructure,
Right.
bulk, etc. You know, the other thing we're seeing a lot of in the last few months, obviously, again, because of the impact of rerouting of certain flows, whether it's energy flows or other trade, this freight rates also have been quite dynamic. You know, do players like Abu Dhabi ports and others, you know, are they nervous about, you know, the fact that those dynamics could become a bit more volatile in terms of freight rates, the use of different types of cargo, given this sort of uncertainties in the geopolitical sphere?
We've all witnessed what's happening today in the Red Sea. The freight rate has increased tremendously. It had an impact globally on the suppliers. So the end suppliers are the one who are impacted. So as I mentioned earlier, we've always been ready for alternatives, and so we should. In Abu Dhabi Ports Group, we are with our alliance working together to overcome these challenges, whether inland, whether through improving infrastructure to accommodate more volume, coming with more solutions. And it's been noticed that a lot of these challenges has been overcome. At the hope that the latest developments or instability that's happening within the region vanishes. So yes, Abu Dhabi Ports is, as I mentioned earlier, it's part of our adversity management, and we are investing, we are developing this infrastructure in alliance with our partners.
Can you give us an update, Mr. Al-Balooshi, on the crude oil caverns at the Fujairah in Fujairah, at the Fujairah terminal, in terms of how those are, the ADNOC crude cavern project that is being done there? Are those now completed? When do you expect to have them in full use, etc.?
Well, I'll be honest with you. The market is pushing for more crudes into Fujairah. Expansion has to take place to accommodate more. The authorities are looking at this in agile, and in the near future, we will even inshallah through the summit, or we will hear a lot of good news about accommodating more volume in terms of crude.
Okay. And Mr. Balooshi, before we let you go, just let's get your take on just the general. I mean, if we look at the Gulf itself and Fujairah, obviously on the Indian Ocean side, and then look eastwards a bit, and we do see quite a lot of ports expansion in general in India, in Oman, in the UAE, etc. Is this capacity that we're seeing in plan enough? Is it too much? How are the different ports authorities, do you think, looking at that? And is there any coordination between them?
I think there is two dimensions. If we will look at port expansions and or oil terminal expansion, and there is different dimension to that. If you look at the oil terminal expansion today, we have Fujairah as one of the largest hub for the oil storage facility, and there was always a demand. Fujairah has a high standard when it comes to receiving vessels, and the overspill or the spillover from Fujairah today created other terminals within the region. Similarly, if we move into other segment, which is the other trade commodities like cargoes and etc. Today we witness that there is an overcapacity, but surprisingly, today what is happening and the geopolitical influence on this trade makes a demand for these ports and terminals. So luckily, we are in a region where we are in the middle on the trade route and the traffic. So this makes and gives us the advantage of always accommodating whenever from east to west to south. We always are being able to accommodate the excess capacity when it comes or the shortage to global supply chain.
Abdulaziz Balooshi, CEO of Fujairah Terminals, thanks so much for joining us today on Halftime Talk to give us your views on the outlook ahead for 2024. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Diala, and nice to see you, and always good to have interview with you. Thank you.